Hi there, guys. Welcome to Midweek with Indiacharts. This is your host, Muskan Kapoor, and we're joined here with Jay Vora. A happy new year to everybody watching. I hope 2023 plays out really well for you all. We will just, without any further ado, start with the video. And my first question here is there any important key event that took place in this week? If it did, what are our key takeaways from the same?
So, firstly, Happy New Year to all our viewers. Hope they have a great 2023. And coming to your question, so there wasn't much data point that was released in the past 1 week. But yesterday, I think the PMI data had come for US, and that again showed some weakness because the manufacturing PMI was below 50. Okay, and it was significantly below 50. So I think we have been highlighting that the PMI data for US for last 2 quarters, I mean for 2 months or so, it is weak. So I think this time around it has come to 46.2 as against 47.7. And the service PMI is in fact still weak. It is 44.20 as compared to 46.20. And apart from that, I think the Canadian PMI had also come. So even that had this time, shown a reading below 50. Okay, it had come to 49.2. So, across all the, all the countries now, we are seeing a shrinking PMI data, okay, which means that the economies are kind of contracting or slowing down. So the slowdown is now very imminent. Most of it, I think, is going to eventually translate into recession. So, right now the fear of inflation, I think that is going to go away soon. Okay, because the Fed has raised the rates so much, and it is most likely to keep it at the elevated level, until the inflation doesn't cool off. So I think in all of this, now inflation might not be a concern. I think growth will become a concern, and due to this slowdown, I think ultimately there will be an effect on the PAT of the companies, okay, which again in turn will lead to as we had explained earlier as well, that would lead to a decrease in the profitability. The decrease in profitability will in turn lead into a decrease in EPS, and that again will hit basically the major indices. So that is what the expectation is right now. Let's see, how the result season play out.
Correct. Talking about different countries, the US indices also barely traded this week or last week. Has our outlook changed? Are we on the same track?
Yes. So let me share the screen. So see, I think Dow Jones is a little interesting index. Okay, that is because if someone has to argue, I think the only argument they can do is on the bullish side, and that too only on the Dow Jones index, because over here it would appear like a breakout, and then it is consolidating above the breakout point. Okay, but I think we have explained this earlier as well, that this is a counter trend move. Okay, once this is going to get completed, I think we are going to get the next leg of down move, which will eventually lead to a decline below the previous low. Okay, so the previous low was 28,660. So most likely Dow Jones should start its next leg of down move in the form of wave C. Okay, so wave C will be nothing but the equality of the previous decline. Okay, so if we do the equality of the previous decline, so it is going to be actually much below the 28,660 level. Correct. So right now, there are all signs that the correction can kick in. Okay, but we would need a little more confirmation, because I think the decline, if we see on the hourly chart, okay, wait. Yeah, if we see on the hourly chart, this most likely looks like an impulse decline. Okay. Now, what is happening is a consolidation. Now, the only catch in this is that whether we are going to see a deeper retracement or the pullback is going to be just the 38.2%. Okay, that is what we are grappling with right now. I think if there is a breakout from this triangular pattern, then we can see a pullback towards 36,650 to 33,650 to 33,900 kind of levels. But
Correct.
if the pullback doesn't occur, okay, then I think and there are 2 or 3 lows around this point, that is 32,850 mark. I think once we close below that, the Dow Jones may confirm a breakdown and we might start the next leg of down move. But I think Rohit sir had also published this, that the put call ratio reading is very high. Okay. And that typically means that people are fearful and they are buying protection. And generally when that happens, you generally get a relief rally in the near term. So that is why that is where the confusion is, that whether we are going to see a deeper pullback or no. But that is about it. I don't think the longer term picture has changed. Since we had a conversation. So the broader idea remains that this is wave B that is complete, and now wave C is unfolding. And if that has to happen, then a deeper correction eventually is likely. But like I said, that a break of 32,850 on the downside, I think that might, set Dow Jones for a deeper correction. And that would that would in turn lead to this breakout being a false breakout. Okay.
Got it.
So this is one interesting index. But if you see in the S&P 500 index, I think we had highlighted earlier as well that it is very well, following the channel nicely. Okay. So it bounced back to the upper end of the channel, and at the upper end of the channel it resisted, and now it is consolidating over here a bit. So once this low is broken in S&P 500, which is 3765, I think the next leg of decline should eventually unfold, and that should lead to a decline below the low of 3490 to start with. Okay. And below that, lower levels will come in, and as and when it unfolds, we will keep updating the viewers about it. And if you see Nasdaq 100, okay, this is the most weakest index among the US indices. And I'll show you one important observation as well. So see, firstly, what is happening is that this channel is, this support level is also broken in the Nasdaq index. Okay. If we draw this trend line. So this trend line is broken down and it is consolidating below this trend line. And the other important thing was that on the 20-week, it never closed above the 20-week moving average. Okay. And if you see the momentum indicator as well, it nearly touched the zero line. It completed its pullback cycle, and now it is again into sell mode. So this most likely is confirming that the next leg of down move should unfold. And add to that, if you see the monthly chart, wait, let me remove this drawings. Yeah. So if you see the monthly chart, okay, we had highlighted this earlier as well. Like you can see that since 2010, okay, this blue line was not getting breached. So this blue line is nothing but the 40-month exponential moving average. Okay. So we had mentioned earlier as well that ugly things usually happens when the stock or index, they start trading below the key average, that is the 40-month moving average. So you can see over here, it broke down, it retested that, it found resistance, and now it is falling. So even the Nasdaq index is not looking good. Okay, so there could be a big trouble over here as well. And I think there will be a broad-based decline this time around in the US indices. I know it has not happened so far, okay, but if you trust the elite wave structure, then this is what the elite wave structure is telling you. And the other, I think, index was the Dow Jones Transportation, which also we discussed. Yeah. So the Dow Jones Transportation also, if we had discussed, I think, and over there as well, the weekly RMI is getting into sell. Okay, it is making lower high, lower lows, and it is, almost, yeah. So if you see, it is following the channel, it bounced back to the upper end of the channel, and now it is finding correction. It
Yeah.
is finding selling pressure at higher levels, and most likely it should again drop back to the lower end of the channel, which is right now around 11,338. So that is a good, I think 2,000 point from here. So all the US indices are actually showing weakness, and it is like they are almost setting up for a big decline. So we don't have a
Correct.
confirmation yet, but I think once the swing low breaks in the Dow Jones, the Nasdaq index and all, I think the next leg of decline will be confirmed.
Makes sense. The US indices are getting a little weaker ever since these days have started to come as well. While we talk
Yeah.
about that, how is Nifty playing out? How is that placed, and how are our indices placed?
Okay. So the Nifty index has been fairly resilient. Okay, that is one of the reason why people still continue to believe that we might continue to outperform, or we might even go up. Despite the weak global outlook. Okay, you see all the data points that is indicating or pointing out towards weakness, and even the chart structures are confirming that. But somehow,
Correct.
Nifty index has still been very resilient. Okay, but
Yeah.
prior to I think this past couple of weeks, so what was happening is that the bulls were kind of defending the point that there was this breakout that has occurred. Okay, so let me put a horizontal line. So firstly, they said that this was the breakout point. Okay, wait. Yeah. So this was the other breakout point. So all this breakout point, bulls were banking on. But
Correct.
what happened was that the Nifty indices actually broke all the support zones. Okay. It fell all the way to 20-week moving average. I think we had highlighted earlier as well that the 20-week moving average, which was around the 17,800 mark, that is likely to be a very strong support. So
Correct.
what has happened is that, see, whenever there is a correction in an uptrend, so when the Nifty index actually comes back to an important support level, so first time there will be a defense from the bull. Okay,
Yeah.
and that is where their strength will be tested. So this is kind of that moment. So you can see over here, actually the trend line is broken. We retested the trend line. Okay, and now again the Nifty index is kind of threatening to start its next leg of downtrend. But if you see the daily chart, okay, there is probably some hope. So because like I mentioned to you earlier as well, that in US indices we are not yet sure whether the pullback is complete or we are going
Correct.
to see some pop. Okay, so for the Nifty indices as well, specifically for Nifty 50, the 61.8% retracement, okay, which comes to around this 17,950 mark. So that remains a crucial support level to watch out for in the near term. I think once the Nifty index closes below 17,916, 958 level, which it is showing right now, as the 61.8% retracement, I think there will be no other alternate left to be bullish, because as it is, if you see the chart structure, what it is telling you is that there was a trend line breakdown. The pullback ended up testing the key averages, and the key averages are not getting breached right now. So ideally, it is setting up for a next leg of down move, but
Yes.
we need a confirmation or a close below the 19,000. The 17,960 mark, because what might happen is that if US bounces back, okay,
Yeah.
then we might see something like that. Then we might see a pullback, kicking in, and again,
Correct.
Nifty moving higher. So this is the whole catch which we are dealing with right now. Whether are we going to extend this pullback a lot more in the near term, or will the pullback get completed around this point? So
Correct.
apart from that, I don't think there is any confusion in the big picture, which we believe that the correction is likely to set in. Because I'll just like to remind once again that if you see the
What?
RMI indicator, it is in a negative mode. Okay, so there is no bullish crossover over here. In fact, Nifty last month formed a bearish engulfing pattern right at the
Yes.
upper Bollinger Band. Okay, so this is also very negative. So I think if you fine tune and go on the lower time frame, then I think 17,960 is the only point, which is basically the 61.8% retracement. I think once that is taken out, we might set up for a decline. Now in this, Bank Nifty is still very strong. Okay. So what is happening in the Bank Nifty is that, the people who follow classical technical, okay, they would say that this is a cup and handle breakout. Sorry. But I'll hide the drawings and I'll use the Zoom drawing. So yeah. So ideally, people would say that this range is broken, it got retested, and now the Bank Nifty is again attempting to move higher. Okay. But I think once this low is broken, which I think will eventually happen, okay, then this might turn out to be a failed breakout. And ultimately, supposedly, if Nifty, if the Bank Nifty index actually end up making a newer high, then it might more look like a rising wedge sort of pattern. And in which this would be A, this would be B, this would be C, this would be D, and in an ending diagonal, E is generally the last point. Okay.
Correct.
And after E, I don't think you are going to get any up move over there. So, so like I said, if the US index ends up bouncing back, okay, and they end up doing a little deeper pullback, then we might end up C in wave E in Bank Nifty. But that is something that we are monitoring day to day. Okay. But I think even for Bank Nifty, the first signs of weakness will actually come when the Bank Nifty index breaks below the 61.8% retracement level of the recent rise. Okay, which comes to around 42,310. I think once that is broken on a closing basis, even by that time, Nifty might end up confirming, because if the strongest index is breaking the 61.8% mark, eventually I think Nifty index will also end up breaking that. And add to that, if you see Nifty Midcap 100, okay, they have taken resistance at the 20-day average. Okay. And now today we have got a big down day. So, and in fact, even if you consider the retracement, this has done a little more than 61.8. Okay. But it has now again gone down. So most likely a deeper pullback in the Nifty midcap seems to be over. Then Nifty small cap index also, if you see, it has exactly taken resistance at the averages and it has gone down today. And in fact, I think it has overlapped the previous high as well. So now this rise would end up looking like an ABC structure. So like I said, that the Nifty index and the other key indices are resisting at the key important selling pressure levels. But what we need right now is a confirmation. Okay. And for all the index, I think the break of 61.8% of the entire rise, okay, will negate any of the possibility of further extension. The only catch over here, like I said, is that if the Bank Nifty index, the Dow Jones index and all, they end up making a deeper pullback, then what might happen in small cap is that it would do something like this. Okay.
Got it.
Or the pullback may even, extend back to the previous high, and it might, form some sort of triangular pattern. This would be, this would end up becoming something like this, So ये होने का possibility है, but I'm not too sure whether, we cannot thumb the table and say that this might happen, because most of these indices are cooling off from its crucial resistance level. So like just to sum it up, we frankly don't have any change in the medium term outlook, but it is only the short term outlook where we are trying to wrap our head around as to what might happen. Will we get a deeper pullback? or the
Correct.
pullback is complete and we are going to start selling off. So next 2 to 3 days, I think we might get that picture. So hopefully, when we meet for the next time, so
Correct.
at that
We will
point of
have
time, the things
confirmation.
will be, things might be a lot more clearer, and maybe we might get a clear cut indication as to the next leg
Correct.
of decline is starting or no.
Correct. Makes sense, because things are a little cloudy right now. It's very difficult to confirm and give a clear outlook as to what is happening, because we need confirmation before making any statement. So yeah, probably when we
And the
meet
other
next
thing
time.
is that, and the other only thing is that because of this new year, there has been a very lackluster volumes. So,
Correct.
we haven't been able to get any directional move as such. Largely if you see, वो 100 point ऊपर जाएगा, then 80 points down, then 20 points down. So in last 3 days, it is actually zero.
Square one.
Which is
Correct. Correct.
So that is what is happening. So that is why we are not getting an acceleration in the trend. So as we reopen and a full-fledged trading activity should start.
Yeah,
I
holiday
think the
mode is over.
Yeah, so that is when we expect that the trend should pick up, and like I said, we would wait for all those confirmation points to see whether the next leg of decline is going to start or no.
Makes sense. Thank you so much. It was very insightful talking to you. Thank you.